Painting white flowers in watercolor is a bit of a tricky problem because we don't typically use a white in watercolor and our paper is white. But perhaps trying to paint a white flower is exactly where we go wrong. Instead, we should actually be painting everything but the flower. Maybe a little bit of the flower too. And that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Grab your watercolors and give them a good spritz. You could do this without a sketch beforehand and just block it out and go with the flow, but I am gonna start with a very simple sketch of a flower so that you're going to see the area that I am not going to be painting. I'm outlining all of the petals that are gonna be there, making sure I leave some space in between them, marking out where I want that stem to be, and I think I want to add in a little leaf too. Then I'm going to grab my brush and I'm going to mix up two different dark colors. I'm going for kind of a black and a dark grayish blue color. You could do any sort of colors you want here. And I want you to paint the entire background, everything that's not inside of the sketch that you just made. When I'm painting my backgrounds, I like to work in areas and I move my page around, and that way it's easier for me to get into those detailed areas with the fine tip of my brush. I also like to switch between colors when I'm adding in my background, because then it's a little more forgiving because there's some variation built into the background. Now once I've got the entire thing but what I drew painted in, I'm going to keep a little bit of one of those gray colors in my brush, but I'm going to add a bunch more water to it so that it lightens and I have a very light gray. And then on the interior of those petals, I'm going to take the tip of my brush and I'm going to make some very light swoops just to give them a little texture. Then we need to let it dry or make it dry. And then once it's dry, I'm going to wash my brush and I'm going to fill it with a yellow color. And in the center of all those petals, I'm going to tap my brush in kind of a ring shape. I'm going to wash my brush, I'm going to fill it with a nice green color, and I can paint in that leaf. This one I want to do a little bit something fun with, so I'm only going to fill in half of that leaf, and then I'm just going to make some stripes on the other side, just to make it a little more abstract. Finally, I'm going to take that same green, and I'm going to kind of fill in the center of that yellow part. And just like that, we've painted a cute white flower without actually painting much of the white flower. The key here is just to get a bunch of contrast between the background and then the white of the paper that will make your flower.